Hello, friends. Welcome to this channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. Today's topic is AI driven RX, that's transforming pharma leadership. My idea is to discuss about AI agents, how they can solve the bottlenecks into pharma, digital, supply chain management, and what is the role of pharma leaderships. So, before starting, let me give you a brief idea about our focus, our services. We have developed a concept Center of Excellence Pharma 4 with an objective that various new emerging technologies like cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, robotics, chatbot are coming up. Every technology has got its unique identification and strength in offering the services to the industry. Pharma industry has got its own challenges, and especially after this COVID, supply chain management has really becoming a very challenging issue. There is a global competition. There is new regulatory requirements are also coming up. So how emerging technologies can help to solve these challenges or help company to improve and achieve operational excellence. That's what it is our objective. So keeping this in mind, we have developed a Udemy platform where smart manufacturing in pharma course is offered with about 20 modules. Our YouTube channel, which was launched about 5 years back, has got more than 350 videos. We have a podcast channel which you are now listening has got more than 75 podcast episodes are already published. We also have a book series onto Amazon. And right now there are about 8 books are there. Those books, their first day covers which have been shown over here, and you can get an idea about the coverage about our knowledge base which has been shared over there. So let me start with the my discussions. So my agenda in today's episode is I want to discuss about introduction, why boards must lead the digital and AI agenda, boardrooms priorities for digital and AI artificial intelligence transformation, aligning digital initiatives with corporate strategy, create organizational readiness, prioritize high impact use cases, measure and communicate ROI, navigate risk, ethics, and compliance. Successful case studies, the roadmap for the pharma board, and what are the key questions the pharma board should ask while starting up this particular process of adoption of AI agents. So the introduction is that transformation in pharma industry is essential. Now everyone company is moving, adopting the digital technologies, and artificial intelligence are helping in redefining the competitive advantage. The adoption of artificial intelligence can bring a substantial benefits in data driven decision making, which is going to contribute into the performance of the pharma industry. Now, impact on regulatory compliances and business sustainability are the issues which also are to be thought about it. So, considering this, what should be the strategic priority? So, digital and AI driven transformation is a core strategic priority. Essential of future growth and risk management has to be considered, and importance of keeping in mind the global relevance. because today everything is really becoming a global. Companies are getting the materials from the global market, producing at one country and exporting again into a global thing. So all these considerations are to be thought about it. So under this scenario, why boards must now lead to digital and AI agents? So that AI agenda should be there. No, so why it is really required? Because it's going to give you a business impact. Artificial intelligence powered strategies are enhancing the drug discovery, drug development, those processes. It's improving the clinical trials and operational efficiencies. It is also ensuring the regulatory compliances and then the supply chain agility. So these are the contributing factors from the business angle. Another thing which we have to consider is the competitive advantage. Now, board have to really adopt AI and digital transformation because they are now working in a global competition. And this transforms the technology from a cost center point of view to the revenue accelerator. See, earlier when we were working onto the analog systems, it was a silos based system. So it was working at a particular cost center. And then that particular cost center was only restricted to that particular process. Now everything is becoming a global, everything is becoming a end-to-end seamless data sharing. So that revenue accelerator is comes from the this integrated data solution, data integrity and all that. And that is what is the driving the efficiency. Now, since in a global competition, every company is looking out for improving the efficiency, improving the performance and all that. This is where the digital adoption is required. And board must now accept and they must lead this digital transformation process. At the same time, governance and oversight is also required. So there is a high failure rate for artificial intelligence projects. So no, we have to really thought about it and plan accordingly. And this requires a continuous board engagement. Board has to really monitor it regularly. It should allocate the resources. It should see the performance. It should see the progress. It should see the future plans and adoptions and all that. And then the risk and compliance are also to be thought about it. So aligning the digital initiatives with a corporate strategy is essential thing, and that requires a mandate from the corporate level or a board level and all that we have to accept this digital and artificial intelligence are going to be the pillars of the entire process, entire strategy on a long term basis, because this is what is it's going to create a value creation for the organizations and all. And this ensures that this is not treated as a isolated project, but it's a project which has to be given as a top priority into the strategy, into your business strategies and all that. And then that embedded digitalization and then the artificial intelligence themes, because when I say themes could be either inventory management, it could be onto the quality, it could be the patient centricity. So there could be the various themes which we'll have to see, but those are also going to get it integrated. No? So incorporate that into your entire corporate or the business structures and then the framework which you are really going to designing. So that's why I'm mentioning that it has to include into the strategic discussions and all that. Now, this requires the organizational readiness. So, how it is going to come? You have to invest into modern IT infrastructure, the information technology infrastructure that requires hardware, software, everything needs to be there. And you have to have a champion investments into interoperable IT systems actually. When I say IT systems, again, as I mentioned, it has to be hardware, software, the cloud technologies, artificial intelligence technologies. So there will be hardware something, there will be software part of it also. So that is why I mentioned that adoption of the cloud platform and scalability, flexibility, leveraging the advanced analytics, that is the AI and ML, that is machine learning, and all those things have to really work together. So company has to have that plan, that strategy about adoption in an integrated form, which has to match with your business strategies and all that. And this requires a sponsorship of grants. No, it requires a promotion of continuous learning and development. Our earlier skills were good for analog systems. Now we have to move to the digital system. So hardware, digital software, and how that data is going to contribute into data-driven decision making, which is really required. And this requires a continuous learning because you are going to adopt that data, use that data for an innovation, and then it's a continuous process. So we have to really build that culture of data-driven decision making, and that will encourage the agile methodologies actually. Now, when we're doing this, we have to also think, what are those high impact use cases? Because, as I mentioned it to you, when we are looking for the complete entire digital supply chain management, there are a number of use cases are there. But at the company level, when starting up the new project, we have to really decide which of the projects we should really start, the prioritize onto that. So some of the projects which I mentioned it over here may or may not be applicable from your industry point of view, but you should identify those. So it could be drug development, it could be predictive maintenance, it could be real-time supply chain optimization, it could be quality assurance, it could be regulatory automation, or you may have a demand forecasting, you may have a contract manufacturing. So depending upon that sales and operation planning, you can decide about which are the high value opportunities will be there. And then you have to decide co-ownership for this digital transformation. You have to give those responsibilities to the different business unit leaders and give them the authority and ask them how it can be converted. At, at the same time, you have to see that those unit leaders will have both a background of digital as well as a technology, because it's not only a technology project, it's not just a domain project, but it needs a contribution of both the areas actually. So which we'll have to keep it in mind. And then you have to measure and communicate those ROIs. No, when, as I mentioned earlier, you have to start into a project at a small area level or process levels or something like that, and then for that process you have to define those KPIs. No? Those KPIs could be about inventory optimization, could be quality reduction, rejections or something, or improving about um, plant utilization. So various things you can decide. You can write down those milestones and all that, and you have to focus on to the operational efficiencies and all that, which finally should go to the patient safety, and you have to assure that faster market deliveries to be there. Demand transparency reporting or something like that, which needs to be coming from your systems when you move to the digitalizations and all. So that includes the digital and AI investments to see and monitor it. Now, while doing this, you have to also keep it in mind about the risks and ethics factors, no, which are also linked up with the compliances and all that. So your artificial intelligence framework or AI agents, what we are looking, discussing, or planning it out, should address those AI algorithms. No, algorithms will vary depending upon that particular process and how that transparency will be built up accordingly. At the same time, you should maintain the data privacy and keep prioritizing about the patient safety also. So these are the things which you should really keep it in mind. Then comes the proactive compliance postures actually. You have to leverage those technologies along with the compliance. As you know, there's a lot of regulatory compliance documentation which is really required from CGMP point of view or good distribution, lab, good manufacturing practices. And so, how these technologies will also support the documentation required from compliance is also an essential uh, thought which you have to keep it in mind. So, building a robust audit trails is required. Maintaining those regulatory records also to be kept it into mind. So, some of the case studies which I noticed it from the internet actually thought I will just share with you some of those two three companies which they have first company they have identified at a board level, formally gave the review and drawn the AI and digital strategies and all that. And what has really benefited to them is they have been able to build up a cross-functional alignments actually. As you know, we are working onto the functional area. Like there is a sales and distribution, there is a marketing, there is a planning, there is a procurement, there is a quality, there is a maintenance. So all these various functionals they work together, and when they work together, they have been able to identify those challenges. They can identify from the data-driven decision making about the innovations and all, and then allocate the resource allocations and all. So that impact they have achieved it and all. And this is where they got a betterment of about their operations and all. The other pharma company they have drawn a plan of artificial intelligence to 2030 what they want to achieve. They build up for that vision document which linked up with the revenue growth and all. And that has really given them the momentum to have plans for the capital investment, cultural transformations, and all that. So their focus was more on to linked up with the cultural change, which is people focus, upskilling, and all that actually. The third company they had more focus on to their R&D activities actually and link up to the supply chains and all. So that has also given them the redesigning about the some processes and data driven agility. So this again why I shared this is basically to give you an idea depending upon your company, your focus, your challenges and all that you can adopt to that, and this is when you will go on getting the good returns and all that. So I just wanted to draw a broad roadmap for the pharma boards actually. So it is actually to set the thing, to demand the thing, govern the thing, empower the thing, then become a champion. So that is what should be our objectives and all that. So for each stage, actually, it is activities are listed it out over here. You can elaborate them, you can adopt to them, you can modify to suit it to your organizations and all that. Right. So first is that when you set the tone, the board was decide about the plan. I think what key areas operation they want to focus it out and then company can ask to draw a demand plan, a blueprint, how it is going to align with long-term goals from the company point of view, and what will be the milestones and what will be the key ROI expectations. It could be tangible, intangible benefits also you can identify and start monitoring them and all that. And then actually when you start adaptability, that instead the agile government, it should be flexible, it should be a team of technology as well as the regulatory changes, both needs to be taken into considerations and all that. And then those benchmark and how company will improve and adopt to the best practices. You may have your SOPs and all that. So how those SOPs can be adopted and how those improvements will come, whether it's in quality, in manufacturing, in maintenance, all those or distribution. So those you can start occurring and then empower the authorities to execution. Remove those barriers about cross-functional team, create a homogeneous, seamless data sharing integrations and all, and the partnerships among the even internally the departments also can be built up, and this is where will lead to the championships, both from the talent point of view or cultural point of views also. Now, while you are doing at the pharma board level, you should also keep it in mind those questions which really you have to adopt to it and ask to them and all that. It's like digital and AI investments which are going to be required. Are they tied to the corporate strategies outcome? How those data foundations and governance is going to come? Do we have the right formulations, foundations, and governance which are expected in digital transformation? And how that culture is going to scale up for all these things? Have we taken into consideration that people aspect also is to be thought about it? Then comes to the transformation project. How do we ensure that those things are being delivered in time with a measurable returns? No, again, as I mentioned, it's a tangible and intangible benefits, or what are the priorities which you have kept it? What are the expectations which you are drawn at a various level, maybe procurement level, quality level, manufacturing level, maintenance levels, or something like that. And is there any risk factors are there? How we are going to manage those digital risk, ethics and regulatory obligations and all, which we have to keep it in mind. And learning from those digital leaders, as I gave you some case studies, success stories from the internet or something, you can also keep it in mind that who are the companies who are achieving those excellent results and how those benefits are achieved. And then you can start thinking, comparing with your company, your organizations, and all also. So, learning from the leaders is also going to be helpful, which over there. So, with this brief discussions, I think I'm coming to a conclusion is that. All companies will have to think, will have to drive this organizational agility. You have to enhance responsiveness to the market changes, which is really happening very fast. And we have to uh, adjust to that. We have to take into consideration all those market changes. And if we are being able to manage all those changes successfully, then only you are successful into the global competitions and all that. And then de-risking the innovation, because as you are moving, you have two things. You have to innovate your processes, technologies, peoples, and all that. Again, coming back to this, my thing, it's you have to build that data-driven decision making, and those decisions should clearly take into consideration the innovations and all, and mitigate those potential risk factors and all that sort of the thing, and that will lead to securing a competitive advantage, and leveraging digital and AI will lead to market leaderships and all that. So this will give you a competitive edge over the other competitors and rivals and all that. So with this, I think I gave you a brief idea. More details will be available at our various social media ecosystem, what we have built up with our website, Udemy, YouTube, and podcast and all that, along with the books. So please have a look at them. In case if you have suggestions, do write to us. Feel free to contact us. Do share all these details with your network and all that. Thank you. Bye.